Hey everybody, it's John from aMTBer Products. So I listened back to this initial video that inspired me to do like the last 3 or 4 vlogs because it just called out a few really key points in the video here, some of the statements made. And I listened back. I was doing something kind of mundane and needed something in the background for some noise. So I thought I'll listen to it again. Boy, I caught another dozen things that you need to know are, can I say bullshit on YouTube? Well, we'll start with one here.
They are going down the biodegradable. So paraffin, which is typically the main base for a lot of the top waxes, whilst they are a blend of waxes and then fancy friction modifiers, food grade paraffin or lab grade paraffin will be the main part of that base wax blend. And paraffin is not it's not biodegradable. It's also like food grade, lab grade paraffin. It's not toxic either. So food grade paraffin, you can eat it. That's why it's food grade. So it does sort of loop back a little bit, as always, to the argument of something that can be biodegradable but potentially toxic versus something that is not biodegradable but non-toxic. And, how much does that mean to all of us? I imagine theirs is both biodegradable and non-toxic.
All right, guys, I'm going to clear up this paraffin nonsense he just spewed real quick. Paraffin is a hydrocarbon. There's a certain amount of chains to it that determine whether it's baby oil or Vaseline, and there's all kinds of levels in between. Your candles are mostly paraffin wax, okay? Paraffin is a hydrocarbon. It's a different type of hydrocarbon than, say, your motor oil, but it's still basically mineral oil, baby oil, candles, Vaseline. It's all the same thing. It's just the refinement process is different. These people have he has no idea what he's talking about. He's given a script to tell you guys stuff, so you are led down a different line of thinking other than what is actually, I'm going to use the word, the truth. The truth is, you can look at paraffin molecules and they're all the same. There's just different amounts connected together that make different products.
Non-toxic. And, how much does that mean to all of us? I imagine theirs is both biodegradable and non-toxic. However, if something else that isn't biodegradable is also not toxic, if we have tiny molecules of that being shed out there, this is an area that one day we're going to have to do a deep dive in and try to figure out how much of an issue some of this stuff is or isn't. However, what the main thing or the main takeaway for me on this is that they are clearly not using paraffin as the main base wax like most other top wax blends. Otherwise, they would not be able to.
So that would be a synthetic wax, just so you know. That's made from other things.
Biodegradable. So that is interesting. Okay. Also of interest is they are going down the hexagonal boron nitride particles, which is more commonly, I guess we would know that as, say, ceramic additive. So boron nitride is a ceramic particle additive that is marketed in some other drip lubricant products. And I have seen some other immersive waxes from some sort of more fringe brands that also use boron nitride. They're using 3 different size particles, so this may set them up.
So after my Sea Otter 2018 show, a lot of people started using boron nitride after taking my samples, because that was a main ingredient in the one product I displayed there. It's a big ingredient in that one. So my products have been boron nitride based since the beginning. At least those ones were. So, this is nothing new. They act like it's new, then they couldn't figure out how to use it properly, so they're going to tell you how we don't really use that anymore because they haven't been able to figure out how to use it properly. That's all I can say about that, unfortunately. But
others, and that is interesting. I won't ramble on it too much today. This is already going to get too long. But there's There, I guess, have been reasons as to why most other brands have gone with something like tungsten disulfide or graphite or graphene as opposed to boron nitride. Maybe they missed something here that Squirt have discovered. So that will be fun to look at. But I do know that others have looked at this and tested this and ended up not using this. But maybe they didn't.
Well, it sounds like the Squirt guy that came to my booth is focusing on really trying to copy my product. I'm going to be really curious to take a look at this stuff when it comes out. And yeah, you know, this is what I got to deal with. This is what I got to deal with. Come up with an idea so everybody's trying to steal it. This has been going on with me my whole life, just so you know.
By 3 different size hexagon particles, and that's been the difference. We can then see they're referencing they've used sort of, you know, doing in-house, but using the zero friction cycling test protocol. And so, yeah, I know that they have
So the Squirt product that's about to come out has had several years in development, and they requested to use the zero friction cycling testing protocol, given all the parameters of it, so they could mimic that where they test it. So this product, again, has been specifically designed to pass their test. That doesn't mean it's a great daily use product. It means it's a product that can go 1,000 miles. Well, actually, it's 2,000 or 2,500 kilometers now on a single application. Now, this is just obvious, but I guess I have to say it. If you rode your bike without lubing your chain 1,000 miles, let's say you did 100 miles a day on a mountain bike, which would be unbelievable, right? I only know one person in the world that can probably do that. If you rode a mountain bike 100 miles a day for 10 days without lubing your chain, do you think your chain is going to be doing too well? Of course not. Even with their product, it wouldn't be. But see, these are under laboratory test conditions. It's not real world. On a mountain bike, your chain is getting hit with dust all the time. And then you got your, stream crossings and puddles and, mud patches and things like all these things, okay? Typically, you're not going to have dust and mud on the same ride, but you could around the stream crossing areas. You actually could, So the real world conditions are not laboratory conditions. And designing a lubrication to pass a zero friction cycling testing protocol, which is what Squirt has done with their new paraffin based boron nitride based chain lube. It's not real world testing, and you get it out on the trail and you're probably going to be a little disappointed. I'm just telling you. Now, it might work a little better on a road bike. You don't have quite as much contamination, but designing a product to pass a test is not designing a product for the real world, and that's just a fact.
That there's been a big focus as well on treatment longevity versus trying to fight for every fraction of a watt or percentage of efficiency.
So you see, the product was designed for longevity. The product was specifically, he just told you, their product in their description they sent to them. He's reading something here that was from Squirt. Was specifically designed to pass longevity. Longevity is not what you and I are concerned about. I want my chain lube to last about 100 miles, okay, and not wear out my chain and not get dirty and not have to have maintenance. That is not their focus. He just said their focus is to have it pass the zero friction cycling longevity test, which is not real. Nobody rides 1,000 miles without cleaning their bike. So again, even if it is 1,000 miles, well, I think it's more. I think it's 2,500 kilometers, whatever that comes out to in miles, about 1,700 miles, something like that. I can't remember the kilometer to miles math in my head right now. It's a little early. But if you don't lube your, 1,000 miles of mountain bike rides for me is what is that? That would be 50 20-mile rides. 50 20-mile rides, okay? So let's say you only ride once a week and you ride a 20-mile mountain bike ride. That would be a whole year of not lubing your chain. That's what their products are being designed to well, they're saying it. The truth is that it wouldn't even last in the real world. You would have to wash your bike a couple times at least, right? And you would have so much dust on the rest of your bike, and dirt and accumulation, and you'd go through a couple of sets of tires by then. I mean, the idea to design a lube to go that long on one application is just ridiculous. This is like saying, I'm going to put motor oil in my car and I'm not going to change it or do anything for 300,000 miles. Oh, engine blew up, motor oil failed. It's not the motor oil's fault. It's your idea that it's supposed to do that in the first place. That's the error. This is why I'm telling you, this test was specifically designed so they could bash anybody they want. Now, little companies aren't going to design products to do that because it's not even practical. But a guy like Squirt will. He's got millions and millions and probably billions now. This is something that you can develop a product to pass the test. Notice he's doing a hot wax melt, and then he'll do the drip version of it, because the drip version won't be that. It'll be something a little more practical, but it'll be based off of what they did all the research on. So, you see here, they're not developing a drip wax to do that duration either. Nobody is. They're designing this hot melt wax to do that duration, which is a giant pain in the butt, and they know most people are going to buy the drip lube. So it's marketing for their drip lube is what it is.
Wax treatments that have a great treatment lifespan is a really hot focus by most manufacturers in this space these days. So that is...
Yeah, that's because they want to get on the zero friction cycling list, which is a scam. So instead of just exposing the problem here, they're all just joining the party. And let's develop something to pass the test so we can market it through these guys. And that's the truth. And so the ones that don't do that, like Muck Off and apparently Wax Wind and others, they're at the bottom of the list because they're actually not really focused on passing their specific test, which is the test is a scam, guys. There's no other word for it. It's actually kind of brilliant because most people won't be able to figure it out. Most people won't be able to figure it out, and that's why I'm telling you. That's why I'm telling you the reality of the situation is you're not going to put a chain lube on your bike and ride 1,000 miles without maintaining your bike. You're just not.
Like many of the immersive waxes, this looks initially a little bit like the Dynamic Wonder Wax. But yeah, all up, great stuff. Great to see another top big manufacturer in the space with an immersive wax. That's more people that are going to be on wax path and enjoying lower.
Like I said, another top big giant company joining the party because they know the party works, at least for this platform. Most people aren't going to analyze it and figure out, what I've told you already. All right, I think there's something else I want to point out.
Andrew's on leave basically from today and next week, so I'll still be a bit dented for project time because I've got to cover the retail side as well.
So you see, their focus is on selling you product. That's their. This is not just a weird stuff doesn't happen. This is not just a commercial. This is everybody in cahoots together. This is a platform. This is an advertising platform for these top manufacturers. Looks like Squirt wants to join the party now. And the data is it looks very convincing until you apply it to the real world, and it's like, I still got to clean my chain. I still got to take the quick link off. Let's jump to that real quick.
For road cycling, is running a wax chain all it's cracked up to be? Maybe just for a longevity of components perspective? Well, surely this is one for you, Nick.
I'm a naysayer to wax. There's massive issues with wax. I mean, I get that they can talk about it being cleaner, they can talk about and making components last longer, but both of those situations are in ideal world situations in terms of you properly treat the chain, you properly wax it, and you properly stay on top of the wax. The other issue that
So those are good points. He's talking about from a road bike perspective, by the way. This is, I don't know if you caught that at the very beginning of the clip here, but it's for road bikes. Now, The name of my company is pronounced aMTBer. This is chain lube by aMTBer for your mountain bikes, designed for mountain biking. Do you get it now? Why the name of my company is what it is? I thought people would catch on to that. It took 10 years. I had to finally just come out and say it. It's chain lube by a mountain biker, not a roadie. All that other it's time to talk about roadie wax. Okay, guys, all of this stuff that's out there is roadie wax. That's what it is. Will it get you through your mountain bike ride? Probably. Was it designed for your mountain bikes? No. Is throwing 5 grams of dirt on a chain an actual real world condition for a mountain bike? Not even close. Let's continue.
I've got with it is that if the wax starts getting into your rear mech, in between the pivots and things like that, I've seen with some of that Wend wax back in the day, that being a problem, and then it just starts sticking. On a Wend.
All right, here we go. Now this guy's going to comment on Wend wax, and I can tell he's never used it. But watch this. This is marketing brainwashing going on, manifesting in things coming out of people's mouths that aren't even true because they have no first-hand experience.
It was a proper wax. That stuff was horrible, though. I don't think... My research suggests...
So, that stuff was horrible. I bet you $100 he's never even tried it or even held a bottle in his hand. But this is the anti-marketing against the competition that's gone on through zero friction cycling, and this is the sort of brainwashing you see across people. You know, the collective unconsciousness that's out there, these tactics work on these people, okay? So I'm trying to undo some of the brainwashing that's been going on for many years now, and, you know, hopefully you guys will try my product and you'll actually see, wow, this stuff was designed for mountain bikes. I can ride in any conditions and not have a problem. Exactly. Your roadie wax doesn't work.
Current waxing is not comparable to the Wend stuff back in the day.
Fair enough. And then my next issue with this hot waxing where people take their chains off and dip them in wax baths and things like that.
Okay, here we go. Talking about the quick link, and this is 99% of you, and we're gonna get into why this is really bad idea. I'm going to let him finish, though.
Fair enough if you want to do that. But from a bike shop or you guys or GCN or anybody online's perspective, you might cause yourself a lot of problem by recommending it because Shimano, SRAM, and Compact, the 3 main chain manufacturers, says you cannot reuse their split links. So
Really?
unless you're telling these customers...
Shimano, SRAM, and Campanola say you can't reuse the split links, and the girl's like, really? Like she's never heard that before. Okay, so yes, but...
is that they have to put new split links in. Compact will go further and say you can't use a new split link on an old chain.
What?
So if you do this every week, unclipping your chain and clipping it back in, you suffer the risk of your chain failing. Your split link. Now, I know there's lots of people are going to comment saying they've never had any issues, but I'm just saying that's fair enough. I'm happy for you, but
I've had issues, and we're going to let him finish this little clip here, and we'll move on.
can't say that you can do it because that opens me up to a massive professional liability lawsuit.
Massive liability lawsuits for suggesting to take your chain on and off to clean it and re-wax it, okay? Now, I'll interject now, okay? Bottom line is that the only way to safely do it is to supposedly is to use either a Wiperman link or the KMC links are supposed to be now ones that you can reuse over and over. I've lost my chain with the KMC link. Okay, I've not lost. The chain. I didn't lose the chain, but I lost the quick link on the trail, on a mountain bike, doing mountain biking, not roadie stuff. And luckily, I carry a spare link with my little wolf tooth quick link removal tool. I carry a couple spare links with me, and it wasn't no problem, but it was because it's dangerous. When you go to take that pedal and you don't know your chain is gone, you can go right over the bars. smack your knee into the stem. There's a lot of things that can happen that you don't want to happen, especially when you're out in the middle of nowhere by yourself. So that was when I pretty much said, that's it, I've had it, I got to figure this out. That was one of the things that led me to just, being so fed up with the situation. The amount of time I spent on this part of my bike to keep it working properly had, I get a plus from doing the waxing, the dipping in the crock pot, but then I had the minus of the chain falling off once in a blue moon after removing it, 10 or 20 times. And some of those links I probably removed 50 times, And then I started buying spare links, and that gets expensive. So really, you can only use the quick link 3 or 4 times before you need to replace it. Now you're talking about $2 to $5 each, maybe more. Now the Wiperman is supposedly an unlimited usable relink for the life of your chain. From what I understand, they're about $40 Australian. Okay, that's somewhere around $40 American. That's not an option. That's half the price of a new chain. Okay, so your options are the KMC reusable link, which I only use KMC chains, by the way. All my testing was done on KMC chains and Shimano in the beginning, but I just abandoned the Shimano chains for the variety of KMC chains I used. And so now I put my chain on my bike. It never comes off until the chain is time to be replaced. And I give it a 3-year limit at this point. I'm not young enough to experiment on how many miles you can actually go with my product before a chain breaks. I just don't, I can't do that. I need a 25-year-old kid to do the 10,000 mile test. I'm not going to do it. So I go 3 years, and in the first case, that's usually about 6,000 miles per bike. So I usually have 2 bikes that I do the main bulk of my miles are on 2 bikes, and it's usually about 2,000 miles a year per bike, somewhere around there. And after 3 years, it's about 6,000 miles, and I change the chain. And my measurement at wear is usually around 18% at that point. I change the chains at 25% wear, so starting from 0, so new chain is actually 0, 25% wear. Which I think is about a 1/4 inch across the length of a chain or something like that, but I forget exactly. I did all that stuff a while ago, I just don't remember. So I don't go to the full 50%, and I certainly don't go to 0.75, because so it's when I say 18%, I'm saying 0.18, and then 0.25 is when I change them no matter what. And then 0.5 is what they recommend now. So if you wanted to go to 0.5, you might be able to get 10 years on a chain with my lube. But I'm just not willing to do that to any of my bikes. My cassettes on my trail bikes, one of them is pushing 10,000 miles. It's got to be at that point. It's a 2018 Yeti SB4.5, a Yeti SB 4.5, 2018. With the original cassette. It's an E13 946 TRS race cassette. It's the original cassette to the bike. They don't even make that cassette anymore. All they have is the TRS Plus, and it's an aluminum cassette. So I think the top five gears are steel, and the bottom 3, I forget now. But it's half steel and half aluminum. It is no skipping under full power, 15%, 20% grade standing climbs, no skipping. And it's one of my favorite trail bikes. I haven't changed it because there's no reason to. It's so good. I might swap the frame out for an SB 120 at some point, but not in the future plans at any time now.
I used to have a Whipperman chain.
Yes, the Whipperman chains actually say you can't do it.
Because it's a special link.
Split link. No, it doesn't even need a chain tool. They're really good chains. We sell them for 11 speed in the shop.
They're expensive, mind.
Yes, they last.
Mind you, these are roadies. They're talking about roadies. If you can undo a quick link with your fingers, it's probably not going to hold up to a downhill run. or an enduro downhill run, or a chunky trail, or a bike park, or maybe the gnarly section at your local trail you do every day.
Quite well, but
Yeah.
that's fine. And a KMC also do reusable split link chains.
Right.
But do they work with 13-speed compact, or do they work with SRAM flat top chains? Some people might say they've found they do, but once again, from a shop's perspective.
There you go. If you've got a SRAM flat top chain, you're pretty much screwed for the waxing. You're voiding your warranty, so to speak. You are going out into the abyss on your own. Or just buy a new link every 2 or 3 times, and now you've offset the whole cost of everything else. So, you know, the whole goal of this whole wax stuff is to make your parts last long and save you money. So it's not saving you money if you're buying quick links. All right, I think I covered that pretty thoroughly.
On a whole bunch of fun project side and testing. We are due for the next time to vote video for the next open test to come in. But yeah, just haven't been able to get to that. So look out for that. I might get to that one today.
Okay, so now they're going to do their open test of voting, so you can decide which chain lube gets to go through their test. And, you know, this is just picking people out of the... I'm sure it's not some obscure stuff. It's going to be an up-and-comer and one that's starting to get some sales and some things. And I've seen their list 3 years ago. They had, I don't know, maybe 50 chain lubes on there at the time, maybe 25 to 50, somewhere around there. And this is their process. It's just knocking them off one at a time, doing a couple a year, whatever it takes. I also think that some of these other chain lubes are actually by these same companies to put out an inferior product on purpose. I do believe that, and I have a lot of reason to believe that, because it happens in other industries. That's why I know. Okay, this isn't just isolated to chain lube. This happens in other industries where companies put out an inferior competing product to make their product look better. It's true. I've been doing marketing for 30 years, guys. You wouldn't believe. It's basically a bunch of liars. And then there's a guy like me with integrity in that business, and that's why I did so well. People would come to my booth, and they knew, who is this 6'4" guy with long hair and these pretty girls all around him? What's he selling? And they would see quality product, prices worked for everybody. The manufacturer won, I won, the buyer won, the store won, and the customer won. Everybody won. Nobody got screwed. And that was my formula. See, these people can't do this. They have to lie and concoct a hypothetical test and just do a lot of brainwashing to make you think that's the result that you want. But a product designed to pass a specific longevity test on a test machine is not the real world, and it's not what you're going to do. And these people, I was surrounded by them. Just a bunch of people in cheap suits lying to customers at these shows. And I show up and people buy my product. I used to have people standing in front of my booth 3 rows deep. 3 rows deep to see the products I would sell. The girls probably had something to do with it too.
Next week, get the votes in, and then once Andrew's back and we're resettled, we'll get that next open test up and running. The Silka Hot Melt endurance chip test is currently ongoing. Yeah, I've struggled to sort of keep that moving as fast as I would like due to everything.
Notice it's the Silka Hot Melt endurance test. It's not the Silka Drip Lube endurance test, which only gets 50 miles in the dry and 25 miles in the wet. They're using the wax melt lube they're using the testing results from their hot melt wax dip chain results to sell their drip lube, which is inferior because it wasn't even developed for mountain bikes. It's for roadies that aren't afraid to remove the quick link a bunch of times. All right, let me see if I can point out. The point of this video is to point out a bunch of nonsense. I think I only got to 1 point so far. Hold on.
A surprise to us all.
Okay, here we go. The ceramic speed disaster.
They very much want to show how awesome immersive waxing is, ending up putting out a anti-waxer's dream video. I mean, a 1 watt difference between a lovely wax chain and a dirty oil chain.
All those anti-waxers out there dancing in their feet. You know, it's just funny. It's just really funny. I can see this is all just acting, and it's for entertainment.
Typically, we would expect to see more than a watt difference in efficiency between, say, a lovely wax chain and a also lovely oil chain that hasn't been dirty and contaminated.
And I covered it in a previous video, but GCN is a channel for newbies, pretty much. And newbies want to hear what they're catering to the newbie that doesn't take care of his bike yet. And then when he goes in with his brand new $7,000 road bike and realizes, oh my gosh, I got to spend $1,000 on components now just to keep riding. This was clearly designed to sell other parts, and then that person will learn the hard way and probably use a different lube. And he may be using a current drip lube now, but they're trying to get you to try this wax dipping stuff so you buy equipment. It's just like when everybody told you, oh, you need to be clipped in to ride. I'm like, well, I'm a free rider. I'm a downhiller, and I kind of like to be able to walk away from my crashes, you know. That was all to sell you shoes. Okay, sell you pedals, sell you cleats that wear out. Okay, and all of a sudden now you got this extra expense in your life, which if you're racing and stuff, great. And if you're like really hardcore downhiller charging through chunder at 45 miles an hour, yeah, you might want to be clipped in, but just don't crash. But that was to sell you shoes, because if they sell you the pedals, then they got to sell you the shoes, which are $150 or $250. How much are my CDs? My CDs are $500, I think. It was ridiculous. But this GCN friendly fire, you think this was an accident? This was designed to tell people, go ahead and run your dirty chain, and then we'll get you one more time before you figure it out. And then we'll try to steer you into this, buy our specific wax melting devices. I know they sell them on their the top. On the top of his list, they all sell stuff like this now. They sell the whole kit for you. It's all about selling this is called, in the trade show business, these are called add-ons. So you buy the bike, let's sell some add-ons. That's what it is.
So to only have 1 watt between those two test points, you know, obviously
Obviously, it's a scam.
The other big concerning takeaway that I think a lot of people could have from that video is that I don't even need to maintain my chain. I can just run it with sand and grit and crap. All's good, like 1 watt, who cares? But the risk of that is that, unfortunately, if people go down that path, is that, yeah, cyclists will have much higher wear for their chain and drivetrain. And
spend another $1,000 minimum. Okay, let's move on to the next, find the next bit of nonsense.
And ceramic speed on this one in post situation. Obviously in the video, GCN really talked up that this chain was pretty well hammered and pretty dirty, with sand on, you know, through the chain and on the outside, and even a bit of rusting, which rust is just a visual thing. It doesn't affect performance, because it's just...
Okay, rust is just a visual thing and doesn't affect performance. Well, that may be true for this test, but rust does affect your chain. We're going to get into that. I have to be very careful what I say, but this is why I have the chain prep formula. Hold on. I've got an order going out right now of Darkmatter and chain prep formula. I'm just doing orders while I'm listening to this. And, you know, this product here, used on a new chain, you will never get rust on your chain, ever. Your chain will never see the light of day. It will never see oxygen. You'll never have to rinse it off with water. You'll never even begin to start any of the oxidation process that leads to rust. So that's what this chain prep formula is now for, specifically. You can use this on your old wax chain. You can use it as a supplement if you want. Get through another 50-mile ride, maybe even 75-mile ride. Depends on how heavy you are and how much climbing you're doing. Notice I've had it on here since 2019. Less time cleaning, more time riding. That's the point. So the chain prep formula, you never see the light of day. The chain never sees the light of day. It's always coated from the factory grease straight to this prep formula, which seals it in. You'll never get rust. When that rust is in your pins and in between, the places you can't see, you're never going to know. So this ensures you never get rust on your chain. The water won't affect it, ever. Ever. Just keep on top of your chain loop. Do it every 100 miles or so. The guys at Lone Wolf, he was saying 10 rides, 17, 18 miles a ride. That's 180 miles a ride he was doing between his Darkmatter applications, okay? I don't recommend that, but I recommend doing it a little more often than that. You spent $7,000 on your bike, take care of it, okay? It's an e-bike, that's like the average price these days, isn't it? I mean, $5,000 is probably where it starts these days. This is a very simple way to keep your bike running. Like brand new. Oops. Very simple way to keep your bike running like brand new forever. Forever. And after 3 or 4 years, change your chain. I would say after 3 years, change your chain, okay? All right, I'm trying to find the last bit I want to point out here, and I can't remember where it is in here, but he talks about these wax chains require 40 minutes of warm-up time to reach this racing performance that's tested on their machinery. They're telling you, I gotta find the clip in here. I want you to hear it out of his mouth, but I want to wrap this video up too. It's gonna take me another 20 minutes to find it. I gotta get back to work. He's literally telling you somewhere in the end of this video here, somewhere in the last 10 or 15 minutes of the video, I just don't have time to go through it all, that in order to get racing performance, your chain needs to be cycled and warmed up 45 minutes. He actually says some of them recommend 90 minutes. Wax dip chain makers, crockpot wax makers, okay, 45 to 90 minutes to warm up your chain so you can go race. That's like half the race. Unbelievable. I can't believe people fall for this, but this is called marketing. Marketing is basically a nice word for brainwashing, and advertisement, commercials, advertisement. It's all forms of brainwashing, guys. I hate to admit it, but that's what it is. I try to at least brainwash you with the truth. The truth is, you don't want to do any of this stuff because it's a bunch of crap. And if you're a mountain biker, everything you're hearing from this channel is roadie stuff. Now, if they want to take my chain lube and test it, I'm telling you right now, never designed it to pass your stupid test. And my stuff blows your stuff away. My stuff is the best stuff in the world because I've been working on it for 10 years and that was my goal. And I achieved it about 5 years ago. It's still the best. All right, I just want to wrap it up here and say thank you for listening. I hope you try it. You're not going to be disappointed. If you want to try a product right now, if you want to try something right now, try our 5311. This will work for 90% of everybody, even mountain bikers. I know it now says mountain bike and road bike race formula, and that truly is what it is. And here's the wax tool. We've got a little thing on here to control the tension, so you can get it on your chain. It's just a zip tie, but it helps you get it tight to your chain where you like it. Now, if you're an e-biker, you're going to want this combination: the Darkmatter and the chain prep formula. And this is our endurance formula for all bikes. You can use this, drop it. If you're pedal bike, you could use a drop of this per link, and then do your next 5 rides with this. Add this every couple of weeks. That's what I do in the winter for my mountain bikes to help extra protection, extra, you know, with all the mud and the water that gets in there. It's got extra particles. And the tool, I'm running out of these. I'll have another shipment coming. Should be here any day. And I've got the green ones. The green ones are really great too. I like the custom little bend in this one that I had made. All right, guys, I'll let it go here. Just got 10 things on my mind right now. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for listening, and get out there and ride as soon as you can. Bye-bye.